December 2020, the Rural Support Networks were commissioned by the Department for Communities and DERA as part of their emergency response to COVID. This involved delivering on the Warm, Well and Connected programme along with the other partner, which was the Healthy Living Centre Alliance. This involved delivering on the well-being for communities throughout rural areas and market towns. The programme was there for people who had been adversely affected by COVID. It was to help improve their overall well-being by looking at physical activity, mental health, nutrition and isolation. We reached out to the wider community but paid particular attention to the target audience of children and young people, older people, particularly those living alone, people with disabilities and their carers, anyone who had lost income as a result of the pandemic, those who would have been shielding or having extremely vulnerable, and people from ethnic minorities.
We were so delighted to liaise with the Warm, Well and Connected programme and were granted some funds to purchase grow kits and also some arts and crafts stuff for Easter. So phase 1 has rolled out. The residents were absolutely delighted to receive their packs, especially because it just gets everybody out into the garden. Individual houses can also socially distance but still be together through lockdown.
So how did we get people involved? Well, to date we've almost 60,000 people. It wasn't an easy job. We only had a matter of months to deliver on. But what we done is we used the existing infrastructure that we have as rural support networks. Each rural support network has hundreds of community groups that are linked in as member organisations. They are community leaders and have a series of volunteers involved in every group. So we made contact with each and every one of these, asked them to think about what they could do as a local group to help address the needs within their street, their village. And yes, they did respond. The response was exceptional. We didn't expect anything like the uptake that we had. Community leaders were extremely interested. They wanted to get involved, they wanted to deliver, they wanted to help their communities, and they did. They all came forward. They came forward with creative, innovative ideas, which hopefully this video shows. And they gave it their time and they rolled up their sleeves and they got in.
It was a programme to get kids who are isolated at the minute, aren't at school and are doing remote learning, give them a chance to sort of get active again. So we did a weekly exercise programme with them and that ran along with a daily exercise log that they filled in as they were doing it. Really popular programme. Over 400 kids involved in it on a weekly basis. It's just promoting exercise for the physical and mental health.
There is positivity with this. We've been able to keep engaged with our members and really thankful for that because we haven't been able to actually train, so it's great to be able to do this.
The uniqueness of the programme is around how we designed it in terms of it being able to respond to very localised needs. We worked very much with the people on the ground, making sure what they needed and wanted was part of what was delivered, and that's what worked best. We made the process simple, easy, straightforward to follow. There was no big application process. It wasn't set out to only attract those who were larger organisations, well organised, had all the governance in place. We went out and worked with local people and we took the risk of doing that.
County Down Rural Community Network is one of 6 rural support networks, or RSNs, who have helped to deliver the Warm, Well and Connected scheme across Northern Ireland since December. When the Department for Communities asked the community sector to help, the RSN stepped up to the plate. We used our hundreds of community contacts and asked them to come up with new ideas to tackle social isolation and loneliness and to simply check in with their neighbours. In a few short weeks, the RSNs have engaged with well over 450 community groups and local community coaches, and the most amazing activities have been created and delivered. Activities such as expert talks for people living with fibromyalgia, nutrition webinars and cookery demonstration, including learning how to cook good food in slow cookers, new mum psychology sessions, arm knitting sessions for parents of young people with autism, all sorts of gardening programs including growing kits and planting thousands of trees across every county, thousands of wellness packs distributed to the very vulnerable, arts and crafts sessions of every possible type delivered, physical activity, dancing, even Lego building classes facilitated in clever ways to involve all the family, and much of this largely online or by Zoom.
One of the major issues arising from homeschooling during the recent lockdowns was the lack of devices in family homes. Our school community very much appreciates the 5 tablets donated through the Warm, Well and Connected programme.
We should recognise the commitment of staff in the delivery of the programme. This was an extra piece of work taken on because we saw there was a real need in communities to help people's well-being, to reduce isolation and loneliness, to give them a function and activity, something to keep them busy in the dark winter months. And there was a great passion shown by all the staff in terms of delivery and commitment and ensuring that we reached those who are really in need.
During the pandemic, it was important that we looked after each other, that we helped our friends and neighbours. We in the Orange Order in County Fermanagh targeted the widows. Many of these were socially isolated, and the warm packs were a great practical provision for them. Practical in the sense that it provided them with warm clothing and accessories. But also, people just calling at the door, handing them the warm pack at the door, meant that they had someone to speak to for a short period of time. That was equally important as well. So we were pleased to help do our bit in the community and to help those that were most in need.
Remember, the delivery all took place during lockdown. Everyone was at home. All the services we normally access were closed. Children were at home, the schools were closed. All other social events were cancelled. So we had to be very creative and innovative in how we delivered. And we worked really closely with our community leaders to make sure we could do that. We also had to be creative in how we access materials. And we were extremely aware throughout that we used local suppliers and local tutors. We made use of small stores that were open, like the hardware stores, the local chemist, to source materials and goods so that we could actually support small businesses as we delivered the programme.
The people learned about how to breathe, specifically important at these times in relation to COVID, how to relax, how to stretch and how to strengthen their bodies. They came on the course if they were feeling lonely, depressed, living alone, unemployed or stressed. The feedback was brilliant. They really enjoyed the course. I really enjoyed the course. It also gave me employment.
We decided through the Warm, Well and Connected programme to put together packs as a way of reaching out to the community and reconnecting with everyone. These packs included a booklet with messages and pictures from local children on what they had been up to during lockdown. It also included tips in supporting well-being and positive mental health for adults. There was contact of committee members, and there was fun and practical ideas for parents and their children. Also within the packs there was daffodil pots, pens, pencils, activity booklets, hand wash and information booklets. The main impacts of the programme was that our committee made a means of re-engaging with the community during extremely difficult times, and especially connecting with older people who are lonely and felt very vulnerable and isolated due to lockdown. People within the Gadahi area were overwhelmed and very thankful for the gift packs and the fact that they were thought of. One beautiful message received stated, "It was like a ray of sunshine when you appeared with the lovely pots of daffodils and friendship and taking the time to do deliveries."
In summary, this is one of the most successful schemes we have ever been involved in my 25 years of community work. It was conceived quickly by Department for Communities and co-designed with community partners in a matter of days. The RSN model reached out to hundreds of community partners, and as we speak, over 56,000 participants have now benefited from the Rural Support Network Warm, Well and Connected programme. We have delivered all this with mainly existing staff who have added this huge volume of work to their existing jobs. We are not out of the pandemic by a long shot, and we should be planning now for a more sustained version of WWC going forward. There is huge demand for these programmes and hundreds of willing coaches and groups ready to deliver them to people across our communities. Perhaps we should be planning now for a smaller scale programme in the coming weeks and even in the autumn and winter of next year. The rural support networks stand ready to help.